Hi, I'm sure a lot of you wanted to go into NLS. I know it's a dream college for a lot of people, but a lot of you couldn't do well in CLAT, and that's absolutely fine. I think the best thing that NLS started is the NLSAT examination. What is NLSAT? NLSAT is the 3-year LLB program which NLS started in 2019. We're going to talk about in complete detail about what this examination is, what its eligibility criteria is, what its course requirements are, all of these things. We're also going to talk about whether it's better than DU LLB or whether it's better than MHSET. So just beginning from what is NLSAT, it is a 3-year course as opposed to CLAT, which is a 5-year course. What is important to understand about this examination is that its eligibility is open to all graduates from all disciplines, which means that you can be from any college in India as long as it's a recognized college, and you can go ahead and be pursuing any discipline, which means that you can be an engineer or you're a doctor, or for that matter any BA course, any course that you're absolutely pursuing. There's no bar on it, and you can then go ahead and enroll in the 3-year LLB course of NLS. A lot of people have this question that is the 5-year course and the 3-year course at par with each other? And I think that's very important to address, that the 3-year course absolutely meets the Bar Council of India requirements, which means that you're equally at par with anybody who is doing a 5-year course also. The curriculum is also symmetric with the BLLB program, which means that all the courses that are taught to BLLB and all the courses that are required by the Bar Council is something that is already being taught in the LLB course. Now, the admission, which is where this video becomes very important, is through NLSAT. Now, I am someone who's written NLSAT in 2020, and I'm right now in my final year of NLS, and I'm making this video, and I think NLSAT is one of the best things that happened to me. The program type is, it's a 3-year residential course, which means that you also stay inside the college, and the academic year usually begins in July 1. We have 3 trimesters, which is just an NLS thing where you have examinations every 3 months, and the attendance is, again, as everybody says, it's a 75% mandatory for each course. When we go and talk about eligibility, as I said earlier, the eligibility is a bachelor's degree from any discipline from a recognized national or international university. The minimum marks is obviously something that's there. For the general category, it's a 45% aggregate, and for the SC, ST, OBC, NCL, PWD, it's a 40% aggregate, right? Which means that as long as you are fulfilling this marks criteria, you can go ahead and write this examination. Now, the issue that comes is that a lot of people who are in their final year are writing the examination, and therefore you might not have access to your degree, and that is why the provision is also there that you can go ahead and write the examination given the fact that you go ahead and provide the college with a provisional degree, right? This is something that your college will also provide you if you ask for it. The deadline for the proof of graduation must be submitted by December 31st, 2025, which means that once you join the college, you can then go ahead and submit the degree. Fun fact, I have yet not submitted my degree in NLS. I hope nobody from NLS administration is seeing this. But all I'm trying to say is that it's absolutely fine. You don't need to be worried about if you haven't gotten your degree from the college. All right. Let's talk about the structure of the exam now, which is where it becomes very important, because NLSAT is a very, very dynamic exam. It has a part A and a part B. A part A is an objective multiple choice question type, but a part B is a subjective type. And I think that is why students get a lot of creativity and they can show their creativity in the paper. When we see the structure, you have a maximum marks of 150, which is 150 is the combined part A plus part B marks. There is a time duration of 150 minutes, which is 2.5 hours, and the maximum intake into the program is 120 students, which means that it is an extremely competitive examination. But of course, if you go ahead and watch these videos, you might just get a very good idea of it. When we see part A has multiple choice questions. It is comprehension based and a maximum marks of 75. when you also have negative marking of 0.25 marks for every wrong and unanswered question, which means that it does not make sense for you to leave any question. It is much better that you attempt all questions, because regardless of whether it's wrong or unanswered, you still lose 0.25 marks. Now, if you qualify part A, only then will your part B will be checked. I think this is where part A becomes very important, that if you do not go ahead and perform well in part A, your part B does not get checked. And therefore, part A has more weightage that way. In the end, of course, part A and part B marks cumulatively decide what your rank is going to be and whether you get into this program. Coming on to part B, it has a maximum marks of 75, which is similar to part A. In part B, candidates will be tested on legal aptitude and legal reasoning. This does not mean that you require prior knowledge of the law, but you need to do analysis to the extent that examiners understand that you have the power of analysis and the power of comprehension. In legal aptitude, it consists of problem-based questions, and students are expected to write short answers in responses which are in the nature of like 200 to 250 words. And there is a different component, which is the essay component. The essay component, again, you are supposed to go ahead, you'll be given a topic and you're supposed to write an essay on that. It's supposed to be nearly around like 500 to 1000 words. And this essay is also not something that you're specifically required to bring legal knowledge into it, or you're not supposed to bring a lot of facts into the essay. You're supposed to have a more analytical mind when you're going ahead and like reading an essay, that you go ahead and analyze it better, and you go ahead and understand key problems, and you're able to bring the nuance within these things. What these things entail is something that we'll also talk in other videos, so keep watching that. So the final rank list is based on both part A plus part B. It's important to understand why is this different from CLAT, because I understand that a lot of people who will be writing NLSAT will have already written CLAT, or because obviously if you want to become a lawyer, I think everybody has already written CLAT at some point of time. But again, it's important to understand that it's different from CLAT. You don't do a 5-year course as you do in CLAT, and you do not start admission like right after standard 12. Obviously, you need a graduating degree, and NLSAT is just a 3-year program. Now, both these programs meet the criteria of the Bar Council of India, and you can practice law from both of these programs. I think that's something that's more important, and that's why I don't think it differs so much in terms of the impact that this course has. More on eligibility. CLAT and NLSAT, this is just a quick summary. It's only for students who have finished 12th grade, but when you write NLSAT, it is only for graduates or final year undergraduates. On program, it's a 5-year integrated BLLB honors, and the NLSAT is a 3-year LLB honors at National Law School. When you talk about exam pattern, a lot of you might have gone through CLAT papers. You'll see that CLAT is a completely objective examination. You only have MCQs in CLAT. But that is where NLSAT becomes different. It has a mixture of objective plus subjective. As we said, part A is objective and part B is subjective. Now, the skills that are being tested in CLAT are also a little bit different from NLSAT. So CLAT goes ahead and tests your reading comprehension, your logical reasoning, legal aptitude, GK, and quantitative techniques. But when you talk about NLSAT, there is more weightage given to analysis. There's more weightage given to how quickly you can read comprehensions and answer questions based on that, but also on your writing ability, which means that how well you're able to like articulate your reasonings is something that NLSAT also tests thoroughly in your part B. Now, the emphasis again in CLAT is on speed and accuracy, but the emphasis that we see in NLSAT is more on depth of understanding and argumentation. We've also done a comparison between how is it different from CUET LLB and MET, because we understand that these are parallel exams that students are going to write, and therefore it's important to understand which of these exams are more suitable for you given the stage that you are and given the preparation that you have. So we can start from like what environment you can expect in like CLC, which is the college that you get from DU LLB, and the environment that you can get in GLC, ILS, colleges of those ends, which you get from MET. So while all examinations, which is that NLSAT, CUET LLB and MET, lead to a law degree. They serve very different purposes. NLSAT obviously is for National Law School Bangalore. It is very, very competitive. It's definitely more competitive than METSAT and DU LLB. But also in NLS, there is more and more focus on academic rigor. You have 3 trimesters, which means that you get 3 into 3, 9 months to do internships, which is different from like DU LLB and METSAT, because I think attendance requirements in these colleges is a tad bit less, which means that students are able to like intern more in these colleges. There's an intuitive understanding that if you're completely into litigation, possibly, and you want to completely go ahead with the internship route, maybe a DU LLB or an METSAT might work better for you. But I think in NLS, there's more academic rigor. There is so much college backing. I think on those reasons, and I think more emphasis on law firm jobs. I think if that's something that you're looking for, then I think NLS is the best bet for you. Now we can have a closer look on how NLSAT is different from CUET PG LLB and METSAT. CUET PG LLB is used by central universities like Delhi University and BHU. It has a more traditional approach. It emphasizes more on doctrinal law and producing graduates who go ahead and choose judiciary and litigation and government services as a career option. And in METSAT LLB, we see colleges such as GLC Mumbai and ILS Pune. It's more practically and regionally oriented, which means that it gives like more emphasis on litigation. But we also see a lot of like corp jobs coming out from these colleges, simply because like Mumbai is the hub for corporate law firms, and therefore we think like METSAT is also good in that way. I think NLSAT is very different from these examinations in terms of the fact that it is coming from the best law school of India. NLSAT is unique in that way because obviously there is a lot of college backing in terms of the kind of internships that you can get and the kind of placements that you can expect. I think in that way, the alumni base is extremely strong, and I think it also gives a lot of leeway into going ahead and opting into different fields. I think that is something that's always open with NLS, but also I think the brand does a lot in just helping you grow in your career. I think with that, I think it gives you a very nice exposure of how NLS is different from, like NLSAT is different from METSAT and DU LLB, and yeah, I think you can make a much more informed choice after this video.